Welcome to episode 144 of the Concealed Taco Dudes podcast. Woo! Yay! A little bit of a lighter cast. We got me, Jason, with Concealment Solutions, and Ricky from Magholder, and we have a very special guest, John, who we will introduce a little bit later after we knock out our sponsors real quick. But this is going to be a show to remember, so stick around and get comfortable.
Epic is how some people would describe it.
Epic. Let's knock out sponsors. We are in the NOE Bullets studio.
Comfortable as always.
Yes, it's very nice. Very cozy. Check out NOE Bullet Molds at noebulletmolds.com. They make the finest bullet casting molds on the planet. They also sell powder if you're local. They're not shipping the powder, so you got to be local. Come pick those up. Dillon presses and a whole lot of other reloading stuff. So check them out. And make sure you use the code FLT001. That will save you, I think, 10%.
Yeah.
But that you can, Al at NOE has other discounts. Like if you spend $1,000 with them, you get in like this exclusive club and you get regular discounts.
There's like an auto discount applied to your...
But you can add this discount on top of that.
You can stack it. Yep.
So check them out. Utah Air Guns at utahairguns.com. The finest air guns on the planet. They make some awesome... Well, they don't make the guns, but they sell them. They only sell the good stuff. And if you follow them on social media, you will have seen one of their sponsored shooters, one of the shooters that they sponsor, just won the American Air Gun Challenge.
Really? Wow.
Took home a check for $20,000 for shooting a toy.
Wow.
I say that because it annoys them. But anyway, shooting air guns. Yeah.
Who is the sponsored shooter?
I can't remember his name. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Look him up on Instagram.
Yeah.
But I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I know their match that they sponsor, the Rocky Mountain Air Gun Challenge, is in June. I think this last one they gave out like $150,000 in prize money.
What?
Yeah, no lie.
Wow.
Yeah, makes you want to go buy an air gun and get good. Right. Anyway, check out Utah Air Guns at utahairguns.com. Use the code AIRCANDY. They'll give you free shipping and free turret stickers. Black Ice Coatings, blackicecoatings.com. Gun finishes, Teflon coating, hydro dipping, Cerakoting, all that good stuff. They do amazing work. If you're not following them on Instagram, you're missing out because they post some really beautiful work that they do.
And they coat so much on so many different surfaces.
Yeah.
Helmets, bikes.
Yep. Yeah. I have a mountain bike, the Hydro Dipped, which is awesome. It's a total head turner. It's fun.
I've seen a bunch of helmets and car parts and all kinds of stuff. Anything.
Check them out at blackicecoatings.com. Give them a call. Tell them you want it slickery, just because it's fun to say. What's going on at Magholder?
Busy. So many orders coming in. But then also, I feel like I keep saying this, but
you're so close.
Days away. Our product, the plastic's supposed to be coming in on Tuesday, and they're going to be pouring immediately.
And this is Tuesday. This is for
the double stack, all your
45s,
45 and 10 millimeter. Yeah, so a bunch of models across Glock, Sig, Springfield.
Nice.
We're still. I'm hoping this is the week because we made the changes to the mold and then they ran out of plastic, so they had to order plastic. That was back ordered and it's showing up on Tuesday. So this should be the stupid week that we get them. So
that's part of the process, right?
Yep.
You gotta make sure everything is right before you pour a crap ton of them.
Yep. I'm complaining, but we're good. I'm excited.
Yeah. Awesome.
Good news.
And what's your discount code?
So we have Get in the Van, I have Candy. Feels weird saying that next to John, but Get in the Van, I have Candy. We have Taco 20. There's one more, I can never remember that one, but yeah, those are the main ones.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yep.
And last but not least, Concealment Solutions at concealmentsolutions.com. Always working on new stuff, refining what we have. I think I'm really close to having the one-stop holster shop. So I've got people that come in and, oh, I need this, and then they look around on my bench and see stuff I'm working on, like, oh, you do outside the waist? I'm like, yeah.
I see.
Oh, you do competition gear? Oh, you do drop legs? Oh, you have a chest holster? Oh, I'm like, we do everything.
Yeah.
And if I don't do it and you want it, I can probably make it.
I stay pretty active on a few different forums for mag holder. I won't name them, but when I see other people giving recommendations for holsters, and then I go and look at that brand, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No. And I plug your name like probably weekly.
Awesome.
Because it's just mind blowing that some people are still buying other holsters that are head shaking.
And here's the thing: is when you're online looking at holsters, there's so many options out there, and there's a lot of good options. I'll be honest. There's a lot of really good stuff out there, but there's a lot of stuff that looks similar, and so it just kind of all blends into one big mass, and they're all the same. So I'm just going to get this one because it's $20 cheaper. Yeah, they're not all the same. And sometimes you realize that after you get it. Yeah. And it's like, oh, I don't really like this that much. Or, the bald head, bearded dude, the commando on YouTube who's saying this is the hottest thing, maybe that's because he's getting paid to say that. I don't know. But one thing that we do at Concealment Solutions, I give you a 30-day trial on everything. So if you order a custom holster from me, you use it and you decide, man, that bald head bearded commando is crazy because I hate appendix carry. And now I've got this holster that I spent $60 on and I don't like it. If you're in that boat with one of my products and it's inside 30 days, send it back to me. We'll swap it out for something that's going to work better for you. So you're not stuck with it if you get something and you use it and it just isn't quite working out the way you want it. Yeah. So anyway, check us out at concealmentsolutions.com.
How's your move going, real quick? Before we move on?
Boxing stuff up, dismantling the shop piece by piece between building and filling orders and stuff like that. We will move in earnest probably this weekend. Next week. The last week of September, I'll be closed for at least a few days, if not the whole week. Yeah. Just setting up the new shop and everything. Yeah. Still been able to get orders out in 5 to 7 business days. That will probably slow a little bit, but it shouldn't get too bad. I'm moving things in a way that I can be working in the old shop one day, and within a couple of days, I should be working out of the new shop, even though it's not completely built out yet. So, shouldn't be a problem. Keep those orders coming.
Sweet.
And use the code Show Me the Candy. We have lots of candy codes. Like, why are we stuck on candy? It's all Mark's
Did
fault.
Mark start that?
Mark, we had another officer on, or no, it wasn't. We had a news story about a guy impersonating an officer pulled over an unmarked van that was full of a SWAT team.
Oh, no kidding. That's awesome.
And Mark spontaneously was like, wait. I have a new discount code for Mag Holder.
What?
Mark is the founder of Mag Holder that Ricky bought the company from. He's like, get in the van, I have candy, and it'll save you 22.5%. We're like, 22.5, huh? Okay.
It can, but it's 20.
Is whatever
you
it
can't
was.
do fractions in a...
I don't. It was weird, but that's Mark.
I think I remember him reaching out to me to set up 22.5. I was like, I can't do a 0.5% discount, man. That's funny. I remember that.
Yeah.
I bet I could go find that text.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Mark is awesome. We love Mark. But so that's where that came from. And then we got set up with Utah Air Guns, and I said, hey, what discount code do you want us to use? And how about Air Candy?
What?
Like, okay.
Really?
And then
Did they know that because of the other?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I got in on it, and I was like, well, show me the candy. So anyway, it's all good times. Anyway, let's jump in. We are going to jump right into a topic because I think this is going to be highly interesting and exciting and is going to eat up all of our time and maybe then some. So we will introduce John. John is an officer, police officer in a major U.S. city. And that's all we're going to tell you about John. Keeping things kind of on the down low, just for his safety and everything else. But we brought John on because tell us a little bit about your career history, obviously without too many details.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me here. I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here, guys.
Oh, we love having you.
So thank you. First and foremost, well, you know what? I've got over 25 years of law enforcement experience, and most of it's all been in patrol on the streets in the Badlands. So I'm a first responder. So that's the hot ticket.
Boots on the ground, kicking indoors.
That's correct. So I've worked some specialized units throughout my career.
Has that all been in the same major U.S. city?
Yes.
Okay.
All in the same.
Wow.
Same department.
Wow. Okay.
I've been there a long time. I've been a police officer for the majority of my adult life. So it's been an amazing career. I have lots of good expertise and a lot of things that the public should know about. That they don't. You fellas know that we have a lot of sheep in the world, and people just kind of live in their own little space, and they don't know what's going on around them. And I really, nowadays with the current regime, as you guys well know, it has really put a damper on our daily lives.
Yeah.
And they are tying our hands. And people more than ever need to know how to defend themselves, and they need to be armed. I know here in this beautiful state, you folks with the gun laws here, it's awesome. Everyone can carry a gun, which what's happening here is a far cry from what's happening in other blue states.
Yeah.
The crime is off the chain. I'm sure you see it in the news, but the news doesn't even depict how bad it is.
Sure.
Because it's just that bad.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want your families rolling around anywhere in California or anywhere in Chicago or anywhere in New York because, let's face it, they're probably going to be a victim. And guns are pretty much outlawed there.
Yeah.
I mean, some things are happening there, like in California.
Things are getting better in some of those places. I know Chicago, you can actually get a concealed carry permit nowadays and stuff like that. And
you have to be sponsored, though. You have to be sponsored by like a neighbor, a friend, or something, or a family member.
Okay.
To vouch for your, at least from what I've read.
Okay.
I mean, I could be wrong, but yes, you can, but I think it's still plenty of red tape to go through.
In my research for the show, when I'm looking for news stories and stuff, I'm seeing a lot more stuff popping up with concealed carry holders defending themselves in Chicago than I've ever seen before. So
that's right.
That makes me feel good that something's happening in some places, but
it's happening.
It seems weird. There's such an imbalance. It seems like, Utah not too long ago got constitutional carry after being not revoked, but the governor, it passed, and then the governor vetoed it twice. And then we got a new governor, and he passed it.
Thank God.
So I just think that the previous governor probably had family members or people that were making money off concealed carry permits or something and didn't want to damage their livelihood, which is...
There's still a difference between those two. I'd still recommend getting your concealed carry
I would too. Absolutely. But that's the way the Constitution is written.
Yeah. Right.
If you're legal to own the gun, you should be legal to carry it.
Yeah.
So we see places, and I read something recently. I think half the states now have constitutional carry or some form of constitutional carry. That kind of blew me away. I didn't know that was happening. So in some areas, we're getting great progress in Second Amendment rights. And then in other areas, it's the exact opposite. So we have this huge imbalance in the country.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But anyway, carry on.
So, just to piggyback about what you're saying, Jason, is that, yes, that is the pushback in these blue states. And we have yet to see where that's going to go because the legislation there is trying to put the garbage on that by one thing or the other. They're doing these little things to, keep the process from going. Then, for instance, the sheriff, God bless him, Sheriff Villanueva in California, he's doing something that no one else has done before. If you live in LA County, he is handing those things out like hotcakes.
Really? Concealed carry permits?
Concealed carry permits.
Really?
That's going to change everything, guys.
Yes,
it's going
it
to
is.
take a while. It's going to take a long time because there are about 10,000 applicants in the hole right now. And they don't have enough in their own little unit. I think they have like maybe 13, 14 people, if my math is right in there, that are just inundated with these things.
Oh yeah,
And
they're overwhelmed
they're
trying to
overwhelmed.
get stuff processed.
So it's very hard now. It used to be, you needed a good cause over there, which, thank the Lord, that recent decision in New
My
York.
good cause
changed
is I
everything.
live here.
Thank you.
Don't want to die.
So that's been disseminated. So they just changed, just literally within 2-3 weeks ago. The paperwork changed. There's no more good cause. It's just basically you have good moral character. Here's the interview. Here's your background, and here's your
your permit.
Here's your permit. So that's going to take a while to see this turnaround.
Yeah.
And I have yet, and I'm praying to the Lord that when I go to that next radio call down the line, that bad guy is taken care of and shot if he's needed to be,
Right.
if the force is necessary before I get there. Because, folks, gentlemen, every time I roll, they're a victim every time. And it's heinous. It's terrible.
Sure.
I'm tired of seeing it. And it's not a good thing. So I promote this stuff as much as I can. One of the best things I can do as a police officer is to educate people. And every time I'm there with actually a good citizen, and I tell them, hey, look, you can't rely on me because I'm not going to be there in time.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
can happen in a minute and 10 seconds.
Yeah.
A lot. It's already done.
Even if you
You
have
guys can get there in a minute and 10?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I almost crash and die, but I'm willing to risk my life to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's there's the statement that's really common in the Second Amendment culture of when you need a cop, they're
It's true.
3 minutes away or whatever. I don't
It's
remember. I butchered that
Yeah.
quote.
And
We
it's
all
not
know what you're
because
talking about.
we want to, or at least I don't want to. I was raised to, I'm there because, it's my calling. So I
Right.
always want to go and get into the mix and save and help people. But unfortunately, the reality of it is, the best thing I can do is really educate people and teach them, hey, look, you're going to need to fend for yourself. You need to go apply for your concealed carry. You need to do this. You need to do that. Here's some weapon systems that you can pick up now. This type of OC, this type of tear gas, whatever it takes. And people are very receptive to this. There's a lot of people that have their head in the sand. They're like, oh my God, I don't like guns. I'll just call the cops. Well, here we go again. Calling the cops is not going to save you.
Yeah.
Active shooters. Let's talk about active shooters.
Yeah.
By the time we get there, it's already done.
Yeah.
It's that CCW guy who is going to rise to the occasion and shoot that.
Like the guy in the mall back east a couple months ago.
Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana.
God bless him.
That was
19 years old. God bless him. But they're making him look like,
They've tried, yeah.
yeah. It's just all wrong, guys. All wrong.
So can I ask the politicians locally in the state that you're in are defunding police, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
The legacy media are also seem to be kind of on board with that. How are the citizens that you deal with? Do they share that same sentiment?
A lot of them do, but
Do they really?
Now with the recent crime wave and seeing the result of these democratic policies that fail,
Yeah.
a lot of them are starting to pipe up and say, you know what, we don't like this anymore. Let's not defund the police.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's starting to bite them in the butt.
Now, can I ask? Defund the police seems like it's a somewhat broad term that's
Correct.
been thrown out there. What has that meant for you and your department?
So sure, I can go into that a little bit. So, for instance, it costs a lot to train a police officer.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot. So we're talking ammunition, in tactics, all of these things to teach or to train, say even 5,000 officers. We'll say 10,000 officers. It costs millions of dollars
Yeah.
to keep that stuff on hand. The training that we used to have has been condensed. The amount of time on the range we get's been condensed because of the ammunition. They probably defunded us a good probably 15-20 million in the tactics and firearms side.
Is that locally, state and federal, or across the board? Or
I don't know what the numbers are statewide, but I know for our department it was about that much.
Oh,
Wow.
That's a huge
cow.
chunk.
That is.
So we went to we were qualifying every other month with our pistols,
Yeah.
which is pretty decent, right?
Yeah.
I was surprised when you told us that before we started recording.
Right.
That's a lot.
You would think everyone would want that, especially
Yeah.
if they're upset. Hey,
Yeah.
police are
Right.
shooting everyone. Let's
Yes.
make sure they're well trained.
Yeah, let's help
Well,
them be a
At
little more
least
accurate.
give them more money so they're well
It's
trained
funny
on that.
because now they're saying that. They're saying
Are they
exactly
okay?
that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So it's actually coming full circle, and everyone's going, "Oh my God, we were so wrong about
Wait, this was a bad idea. Really? You think so?
Exactly.
And when this whole thing came out during the whole Black Lives Matter riots and all this stuff and defund the police, I'm thinking, so the demographic that is going to be the most negatively impacted by defunding the police are exactly the people that you're trying to support.
Yeah.
Right.
So what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, it made no sense at all to
Right.
me.
It's counterproductive.
Yeah.
Right. So the things that are really, they put a lot of restraint on us. Growing up in law enforcement, being able to hunt down bad guys, those days are gone.
Yeah.
They have literally put the handcuffs on us. With the DA that officers have, say in California, Gascon, he's looking to put cases on any police officer he can.
Really?
Right. So the job, everything.
Meaning, if they shoot someone or hurt someone or
Correct.
offend someone, they could be
Yes.
prosecuted.
Absolutely.
Wow.
He's
that's
looking
the
to
number one
prosecute
thing.
cops.
the crap.
That's the number one thing.
The real criminals, right?
Oh yeah, of course. The
Wow.
roles have been reversed. The criminals are now the good guys,
Yeah.
and the cops are the bad guys.
Yeah.
We are demonized.
That is crazy.
It is absolutely. It's lunacy.
Yeah.
So not only is he not, I've read a little bit, but so not only is he not prosecuting, he's letting people out.
Yes.
But
In
he's also
droves.
going after police
Correct.
officers. Wow.
In droves.
That is amazing.
Guys, in droves. And officers over in California are taking early retirements.
Right.
They're leaving. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
who's
probably been
going to
in the
want to
news.
be a cop over there?
Yeah, so you're probably early retirement. Is that also hard to recruit, I would imagine?
Extremely hard to recruit. Yes, it is.
How is the mental health of the police officers that you deal with? I would imagine it's a hard job no matter what.
Extremely hard.
But now it seems like the pressure is even more. Has it deteriorated in terms of the mental health? And
Well, mental health.
are there more services? Hopefully, maybe.
We don't have any more services that I'm aware of. They keep creating programs to help the homeless, and they're putting millions and millions of dollars into their mental health.
Yeah.
Not police officers. Now,
Right.
all the guys I know of, I mean, obviously we're human beings, and that's a big wow to a lot of people because they
Yeah.
think we're not human.
Yeah.
They think we're some kind of
RoboCop.
robot. Yeah, RoboCop.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies. We're nothing like that. But you know what? The guys I've seen, including myself, we're pretty good with our mental health. I haven't seen any real issues. Obviously, when we see a brother or sister officer start to kind of fade, we jump in and try to help as much as possible. But we don't have any new services, anything like that. But we try to take care of our own, and it definitely does take a beating on your mental health.
Morale and
Morale's terrible.
that's what I was referring to.
I'm sorry. So
No.
morale is the worst thing. Our morale is way down. It's the
Yeah.
lowest it's ever been because they don't let us do pretext stops anymore. I mean, they put so many rules in place. We cannot actually go out and do our job. They don't want us to stop people for traffic violations. Yeah, they'll say, well, yeah, we're not stopping you from doing these things. Well, in essence, you are. When you write a policy that says you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, which road are you going to take on that? It's not worth it.
Yeah.
So literally, you're telling us you don't want us to do it. So hunting down all these predators before they commit crimes is pretty much out the door, which
Wow.
really, really breaks my heart because I wasn't raised in the department like that.
Yeah.
I went out there and hunted them down between my radio calls, which you can do, and really all I had was I'd go out there and I'd know where my watering spots were, and I'd take down big felons before they'd go out there and make, and rape, pillage, murder somebody else.
Right.
We can no longer do that. And officers who are actually trying to do that, God bless them, but they're learning the hard way, they're getting spanked. And it's going to take that to, make them learn that they shouldn't be doing that. And it's unfortunate because you want police officers out there doing this stuff.
Yeah.
If we cannot do that, who else is going to do it? We don't have any more vigilantes,
Yeah. Yeah. It seems really, really weird to be working on a system of a reactive system rather than a proactive system.
Exactly, precisely.
And I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me
Makes no sense.
that a department would support policies.
They do. They're bending
Well-
policies and law around the narrative. This is dangerous,
Yeah.
gentlemen. They're bending policies, procedures, and the law around this crazy narrative,
Yeah.
and it's very dangerous.
Now all
Well,
this.
then it's going to be your fault when it goes
Right.
south because you're the cop and you're supposed to do the right thing.
Right.
Even though we're tying your hands in so many
Right.
different ways that it's making it harder and harder for you to do the right thing.
Exactly. And they make it an impossibility. I have not even a fraction of a second to make a decision. But our body cams, and people tell me, oh, that's a great thing. It's not a great thing.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's actually cool to watch, if certain situations unfold. It's nice.
Sure.
But when they use it for evil, it's nothing good for us.
Yeah.
Because what they'll do is something goes wrong, they'll sit there frame by frame, like I had frame by frame to make these decisions. That's how we're judged, guys.
Yeah.
Just like that.
From frame to frame, these two frames that are milliseconds apart,
Right.
how did you come to the conclusion that you did? That doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't understand.
You should have thought.
Right. Here's another thing. There's something called reaction time.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they wonder, well, you didn't. That shot's out of policy. They literally go through this. That shot was in policy. Oh, the next 3 shots you shot were out of policy. Well, that's because my brain. This guy's still shooting at me.
Yeah. You pull the trigger.
Don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die.
Right. So this is how we're being judged,
Wow.
and this is the internal part that people don't realize that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
And it again demonizes us again. Oh, you shot this poor guy in the back. Well, this guy just tried to kill me, and as he's turning around like this to run, my brain's catching up to what's going on, and they don't factor that in.
Yeah.
And we did a reaction study. I was part of, we did a reaction study years ago on this whole thing. A doctor came in, and he actually, it took like a couple of weeks to do, and I was part of it. And he went through the whole 9 yards, and he proved, he did us a favor so that in court, hey, this is why sometimes bad guys get shot in the back. This is why this and this and this happens. And it makes perfect sense. And it's fully documented, but somehow or another, no one's referring to his work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I remember sitting in class with Masada Ayub and him talking about that very thing, and him being on sitting in court as an expert witness and explaining the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Well, he was shot in the back, and that means that the cop was thinking something different. It was malicious. It wasn't self-defense anymore, and explaining reaction times and this and that, and how fast you can turn around versus like you said, your brain catching up, and you're in a fight or flight mode, and you're fighting. It takes a second or two for that fight to stop.
It does.
At least.
Yeah.
And then they talk about, well, that was excessive, or you hit the suspect too much, or you did this or that. Well, once again, it takes the brain time to catch up to that, and they don't understand this whole idea.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work like that. And the people who are judging us don't understand what fights are, or how do you counter a fight.
They've never been in one.
They've never been in one.
Never
They're all
been
pencil.
punched in the face.
Correct. They're all pencil pushers.
We should fix that.
We should. I agree. Very nice, Jason.
You want to judge me?
Right.
Come
Until you've been punched in the face, you can't have an opinion.
Exactly.
all jurors need to go through.
So they want you to apply body weight on a violent guy and wait till he throws you off and tries to take your gun before you do anything else. I mean, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
A fight doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
No, you take every advantage that you can to keep yourself safe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they've taken all the common sense out of it, even with the use of force policy, which is another stupid thing. But it's that's what we're dealing with in modern law enforcement, and I'm sad to say the future law enforcement, in my professional opinion, is very grim.
Yeah.
Because really, I remember when Obama was in office, he implemented this whole idea, and he got the ball rolling to where he wanted to get rid of all local law enforcement. I don't know if you guys remember that. You probably do.
Wow.
But
I don't remember
he
that.
He wanted to disseminate every single law enforcement agency throughout the United States and bring in the feds. Well,
Yeah.
you and I know what that means.
Yeah.
The new Third Reich,
Yeah, right.
the Fourth Reich,
Right,
whatever you
yeah.
call it. There ain't nothing good there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they know, for the most part, your local law enforcement, they stand for something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we aren't government agents.
Right.
We're here to keep the peace and keep the law and enforce the law, and we're patriots for the most part, and we believe in the Constitution and all those very good and important things. They don't want that. They want to get rid of us. So I don't see the future law enforcement is very grim in my opinion. That's scary.
Yeah. Would you say the majority or all of the police officers that you deal with believe in the Constitution and every aspect of it? And
They do for the most part. Yes, indeed.
Cool.
They do.
I guess I just didn't know in the major U.S. city that you're in if that was affected at all by the city's politics. Kind of, yeah.
I understand what you're trying to say by that. I think the worst is yet to come. All the military guys that we had waited to come back from the war, those are the guys that we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
They DQ'd a lot of those guys for whatever reasons. But those are the guys we want. We got some of them, and I'm glad to have those guys on board.
Yeah.
Instead of some idiot from Berkeley who believes this or that, you're like, what is going on? I haven't experienced that yet, but I've heard some horror stories.
You're talking about my neck of the woods now.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So we do, though, have a couple of maybe, I think 2, if my memory serves me right, Black Lives Matter members on our department. They're still going through their probationary phase. I've heard some horror stories, but you would think that would be an automatic disqualifier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's an officer safety issue for all of us.
Yeah.
They're for the other team. And what kind of police officer are they going to be? I mean,
Yeah, they
it's a terrible thing. It's
trying to be
counterproductive.
touchy, not too touchy there, but yeah, that's so, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I don't really think that's a good idea.
It's not a good idea at all. But we do have more that have slipped in through the cracks that believe in those ideals, and that's dangerous,
Yeah.
guys. Dangerous.
Interesting. Talking about like training and stuff like that. So you're a gun guy.
Yes, indeed.
You like guns, even outside of being a cop and everything else.
Yes.
Guns have always been kind of a thing for you.
Yes, they have.
And I know from other cops that I've talked with that come through the shop or training or whatever, it seems to be, and this just shocked me when I first heard this, it just shocks me that there can be a law enforcement officer that isn't a gun person. It just seems to me very natural that if you're a cop,
It goes hand in hand.
it goes hand in hand. It's like when, I
Right.
drive stock cars for a living. I'm a stock car racer, but I don't own a car.
Yeah, I don't.
They don't do
Bizarre.
anything for me.
I get driven everywhere.
Yeah, it's
I
that
fly.
same
I have a
mentality.
helicopter.
And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense
Makes
at
no
all
sense.
to me.
Yeah.
But you work with guys that are like that.
I do.
Tell me how that is for you, and maybe give us some situations, some scenarios that you've been in where maybe things would have been different had they been gun people. I don't know.
Well, I'll start off by saying this. A lot of these guys, unfortunately, as time goes on, they become very complacent.
Yeah.
And that's a natural human thing. However, you have to, in a business like ours, you have to identify and say, I will never do that.
Yeah.
You have to set the bar high, and you always have to practice what you preach.
Yeah.
Because you can get complacent. You can
Sure.
fall within those things. But it's been very easy for me. I had some very great mentors starting into this thing, and I already knew what I wanted to do at a very young age. So I was already, kind of practicing those things then. And I grew up around those.
Before becoming an officer.
Yes.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been shooting since I was 4.
Okay.
Nice.
Whoa,
So
cool.
all my uncles are all big time hunters. On my dad's side, my grandfather, we'd have these conversations. They're all military guys. My father's military, so I grew up with all these values. So firearms was a major part of it. So I was always taught safety from a young age. My uncle I was very close to. He always had knives and guns on him the whole time. So I grew up with the smell of gunpowder, lead. My grandfather smelled like lead and skull. Well, I take that back, not skull. What's the other one? Copenhagen.
Copenhagen,
It smelled just
yeah.
like cope. Constantly. Gunpowder, lead. When I smell that, I think of my grandfather.
Yeah, that's
It's very nostalgic.
That's
So
funny.
anyway, I grew up around this. I really believe in it. It's part of my religion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's one thing. I have a couple of different categories. I think I'll just tell you about it before we move on. I think it's kind of funny, but you have I call them gun geeks, guys who just are into guns, and you have your gun professionals. Those are your guys who walk the walk. They're actually they're shootist and they're gun professionals. And
Yeah.
I think everyone in this room here, they're gun professionals. But we do have gun geeks.
Not so much.
We have gun geeks.
Thank you. Not sure it's true, but thank you.
Well, you guys make gear for guns, so you automatically fall into that concept.
Sure.
Because you have the right idea. And thank you
Yeah.
guys for making that gear, because we wouldn't have the necessary gear to tote our guns around. We need that stuff. We need this advancement technology. But anyway, going back to the idea, guys get complacent and they start not caring about this stuff because it won't happen to me.
Yeah.
Well, I got news for you. It's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
And you have to believe that it will. If not, because it starts with the mindset. All that stuff here starts here. It's a combat mindset. It's mental preparation. If you don't have that, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
Those guys take it for granted. they maybe not have been involved in so many situations. It's kind of a work ethic thing, and they take things for granted, and they don't they don't think about what could happen outside that station front door. We've had guys ambushed going outside of the station.
Really?
We've had it happen numerous times. We've had guys followed home. And if that's not an eye-opener enough for you, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
And they just think, well, it's not going to happen to me. It's a very sheepish attitude.
And why wouldn't it?
Why wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
Thank you.
I mean,
Yeah.
if anybody in this room has a right, I would guess, to feel that way, I mean, Ricky and I probably, yeah. But I don't have a military or a law enforcement background or anything like that. I like guns. I like to shoot. I don't shoot nearly as much as I should. But I carry all the time, and so like if I'm selling something on Utah Gun Exchange, right?
Oh yeah.
And somebody's coming to the shop, or I'm going to meet somebody to sell something, I'm always running scenarios through my head. What if this happens?
That's like for a gun deal. Even like if I'm selling something on KSL,
yeah.
a dresser or something,
Yeah.
I'm still like, okay, I don't know this person.
Right.
I actually had someone show up with an ankle monitor once.
Oh no.
That was like, dude, what the crap?
Wow.
Yeah, but you know.
Oh yeah, I'm with you.
We live in a relatively safe
Oh, yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean bad things don't happen here all the time, but it would be really easy to become complacent. And even in that situation, I'm always thinking, what's going to happen if this happens? How am I going to react? You know, if I go to make this deal with somebody, or if somebody shows up and things don't feel right, what am I going to do?
I'm probably a little bit step further than that. When I sit in a restaurant, I
Oh, yeah.
usually sit. I
Facing
make
the
my
door?
wife.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit there. Sorry, you need to sit over
That's
here.
my-
Let me pull this chair out for you because I need to sit right
Yeah,
there.
my wife doesn't even, she'll go to the table and
Where do you wanna
she's
sit?
like, you want to sit there, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
You guys have the right mindset. God bless you for having that. I can't get the majority of the police officers I train to have that mindset.
Huh?
And the thing of it is it's not that big of a deal.
Which is mind blowing
But it
in
can
the
be
city that you live in.
Yes,
that's
correct.
Yeah.
I agree, and I preach this. I teach this stuff, and I get them young. So I weaponize all the guys I train, and
Do they eventually get to the point of your level or our level or?
I would say that they do.
Okay.
I've had a lot of students, actually, they're operating at that level now, and I'm really proud of them. I've had students of mine who have gone and been involved in officer-involved shootings, and matter of fact, I should probably share one of them with you. When I get a chance, I have his CD, but he actually was shot, his partner was shot, and he was able to actually shoot this gang member that tried to murder him and his partner, and he was taking me step by step through, and it just gave me chills because he thanked me. He's like, hey, I heard your voice. He says, you hear this pause, and that's when he got his head shot. And you would never think that this guy would go through something like that.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah,
thanked me
sure.
for it. So,
Cool.
knock on wood, thank the Lord, all my students have always been very successful.
Cool.
Because I care about their lives. This just isn't a job for me. It's my calling. It's a passion. I believe in it.
Yeah.
And I believe in helping good people. But beyond that, not just police officers, I believe in helping good people. Because I care about your life, your life, your family's life. If there's anything I can do to give you skills, theories, and concepts to further that to where you're successful and you end up killing that bad guy and your kids, your family come out unscathed, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
That's very important to me.
How long have you been a trainer? What do you?
So
you're technically-
I'm a training officer. So I train. Part of my job is to train. Well, my main job is to train new guys right out of the academy.
Okay.
That is my main job. So I wear many hats. So,
They don't get that training in the academy.
Well,
what is different?
So here's how it works. So the academy is just kind of a base level
Okay.
training, and
Police 101.
Police 101.
Okay.
So you're getting all what that state is, whatever the state requirements are for their police
Okay.
officers. This is what you get in whatever, in your 4 or 6 months or 7-month academy. This is what you get, and then you go through your second phase of training, which is out in the field.
Mm-hmm.
Or some agencies, like the sheriff's departments, they go right to the jail, which is a huge loss
Sure.
for them because they're going right inside and they're not carrying their weapons.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they get all that on the back end, which is not it's a little funky for me, but
Not
Yeah.
ideal.
your municipal police departments, they go right from the academy to the field, and they go to that second phase where that's where training officers like
Okay.
me get a hold of them, and they go through a whole different phase of training, and then there's different phases there as well. So I sit there, I spend countless hours talking to them about this mindset. I go through this whole thing over and over and over again, how we set up in the car, where to place their extra ammunition, because they have no idea. The people at the academy, they do not teach them how to be functional in the field.
Right.
They teach them the base. You get your law. This is how to use a gun.
Okay.
You get a lot of hours in the academy. They're really not showing you per se how to put all these skills into effect. That's
Yeah.
my job. And honestly, I get these new probationary officers. Myself, I get them for 2 months, and then they move on to somebody else. And then they have them for 2 months, and they go on to somebody else. So I'm kind of on an island by myself. I'm kind of a unique
Are you working with them in the field? Like you guys are
Yes.
out
in patrol
patrolling
in a
and
police
everything?
car.
Okay.
We are first responders. We don't know what the hell we're going to get involved in. We
Wow.
drive right. We have no idea from call to call to call to call, and it's busy.
That's got to be a little nerve-wracking for
Do you
you.
slow down and say, okay, in this situation, this is
Yes.
how you're going to want to handle this?
Yes.
Or do you just say, follow my lead,
No.
here we freaking go?
No,
No?
So
Okay.
sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes
Follow my
I do a
lead.
little
Don't
bit.
shoot me in the back.
Sometimes I do a little bit of that, but I slow time down.
Do you
Even though
really,
things are moving fast, right? I slow it down. Like on the way,
Wow.
okay, I say, okay, this is what's going to happen. When the shooting starts, this is what I need you to do. Okay, this is where I need you to go. We need to get out. We're going to leapfrog. We're going to go do this. I'm going to take the shotgun. You're not going to take the shotgun this time. So I'm doing a lot of explaining before the call, on our way to the call, and then right before we get to the call. And it's total communication, guys.
Yeah.
A lot of communication.
As a trainer, have you been, with all these new changes that you guys have been dealing with in your city, have you been given new ways to train or de-escalate or do your job?
That's actually a very good question. That's a lot. So I will narrow it down to this.
We've talked a little bit about this
Yes, we have.
outside of here.
So within the last 6 years, we in law enforcement have been doing this type of thing all along. We'll talk about de-escalation.
Okay.
We have always de-escalated. We've always been trained to do that, but there was never this spotlight on de-escalation. But now they created this de-escalation class to call it de-escalation.
Yeah.
And these acronyms and all this other weird stuff, that kind of gets a little bit too much touchy-feely.
Acronym.
Which is ridiculous. I won't tell you what the acronym is. I'll tell you off the
Yeah, right.
here. Because then if I tell you what it is, it's going to let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that later. But yes, we have been given this acronym. It's nothing that we haven't done in the past. So it's just to appease, the media and the narrative.
It's
this is what we're
to
doing.
appease all the people that don't have a clue about how to do what you're doing,
Right.
but have somehow become experts in the field and are
Correct.
going to tell you how you need to
Right.
do it.
And I tell you what, and here's what no one ever talks about. De-escalation is when you see us in uniform show up pointing guns at bad people. That's a huge de-escalation.
Yeah.
That de-escalates
Right?
the
You would
crap
think
out of the
so.
You would think
situation.
so.
Not always,
Should,
but
right?
you would think so.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, they kind of leave that out of it. And,
Sure.
And when I was going through the academy, I remember my old training officer telling me, yeah, this is part of the de-escalation. When you show up in full uniform, there's no doubt you're the police.
Yeah.
It says it all over.
Yeah,
us.
right.
Right.
You hear the sirens coming, and you see that pistol or shotgun or rifle pointed at, if you're a bad guy,
I'm in trouble. I'm
trouble.
going to stop.
right.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop this knife. I'm not going to do anything else.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to, drop this gun or whatever the case. I'm not going to point anything at you or
Yeah.
you would think. But
I made bad
think.
choices. I'm
Right.
going to stop making bad choices.
But as you can see, in the nation, across the United States, officer-involved shootings are happening every single day.
Yeah.
It's out of control. So if bad guys aren't afraid of me, they're certainly not going to be afraid
Yeah,
of you.
sure.
Right.
So you guys need to be armed. A lot of good people need to be armed, not bad guys.
So I'm going to totally shift the discussion just really briefly and get into something totally off topic, but I want your opinion. So, yeah, we obviously carry. What is your opinion on open carry versus concealed carry as a private citizen?
I'm glad you asked. Well, open carry is novel and as good as it is, I don't like open carry at all.
Okay.
Because I actually I would prefer you guys in people who have CCWs or in states where they have the option, one or the other, to carry concealed, because you want that tactical advantage.
Sure.
You don't want bad guys to know you have anything.
Yeah.
It has to be an element of surprise. If you're wearing it outside, they're going to see it. Guess who they're going to shoot first?
Yeah, you're just going down.
They're going to shoot you first.
For sure.
You want to be 100% in the dark. You want to be a ghost. You don't want those a-holes to see you before, it's too late. So the element of surprise is always, tactics is always, everything you do has to revolve around tactics.
Yeah.
And that's one of them. So definitely CCW.
Okay, that is exactly how I feel, and I was just
I agree.
curious how you felt. And I'm to the point also where, I don't hardly ever wear like gun shirts or hats or
I wear my Houghton stuff.
the tactical stuff. I want to look
Army
as,
boots with the...
I want to look as generic as I can. And I think the older I get, the easier that is to do. It's just some little old dude. Who cares? I want to blend in with the woodwork. I don't want anybody to raise an eyebrow if I'm in a situation where things are going bad, because, like you said, I need every advantage I can get. And I feel like carrying concealed, and I carry outside the waistband most of the time, but it's concealed.
Yeah, same.
Very smart, guys.
And that's,
That's exactly what I teach. I teach people that exact configuration outside the waistband.
yeah.
Why?
Well, because we'll talk about police officers first. So when I train police officers and we're on duty versus off duty, we want to keep that muscle memory the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Primary side, outside the waistband. We train how we fight how we train.
Yep.
We don't want to divert from that muscle memory, because once you do, you're going to be going back. Your training's going to get all screwed
Sure.
up.
Yeah.
You're putting yourself at a disadvantage.
You
That
are.
makes sense.
Carrying concealed is already putting yourself at a
Yes, it is.
disadvantage to
Yeah.
some degree as far as your speed.
Right.
It's going to give you an advantage with not being a target, hopefully.
Right.
But yeah.
So do you train your officers for the private life concealed carry?
Yes, I do.
You do?
And I also train civilians,
Do you
good
really?
people,
Oh, cool.
off duty as well.
Do you do it in the state of Utah?
I can.
Nice. So let's talk about new officers, and you've mentioned there's kind of a shift that worries you with a lot of the new officers coming in, not being really part of the gun culture, and seeing a shift in the area that you work in and the concerns that you have moving forward
Okay.
from that.
Absolutely. So we're getting a lot of youth, and nothing bad against them, because it all depends on the person.
Right.
My last couple of trainees, if you will, as young as they were, they actually had a very good mindset, and all I did was compliment that and teach them all these things that I would normally teach, and it just got the ball running for them. And my last probation officer, or my last trainee.
I was gonna say you have a probation officer.
probationary
I
officer.
got
What's
you.
that flashing on your ankle, actually?
There you go. Probationary officer. That's what we call them, because they're on probation.
Yeah, I got you.
So
Oh, okay.
I'll call him trainee. So
Okay.
my last trainee, he actually bought 3 guns.
Wow,
That's pretty good.
all by
right?
himself.
All by himself.
Not on the same day though.
Almost on the same day.
Okay.
That he had never owned guns before?
Never.
Oh, wow.
And this kid,
Okay.
he lists as young as he was. What would you expect out of a 22-year-old kid?
Yeah, this is what I would expect. I would expect that 90% of their gun knowledge came from video games.
Right.
And some of that may be good and some of it might be bad depending on which game they're playing.
Exactly. But you know what? I'm proud of this young man. He listened to everything I said. I mentored him, and now he is stellar. He's weathered after 2 months, 3 months with me. He's that process. I love seeing that process and change. And they're weathered and grizzled, and I love that look, guys.
In 3 months, man, you do work in a hard city.
Yeah, him and I, that young man and I, had some pretty close calls. We were
Really?
very close to three shootings.
Wow.
But it didn't happen. It was very close. And he learned a lot from me, and he's continuing that warrior path, and I'm very proud of him. So
is he on his off days? Is he going to the range and shooting?
He does.
Nice.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna take him out, and I'm gonna do some training with him specifically because
just on your own.
Yeah,
nice.
Just on my own. So one of the things I do that other training officers don't do, and it's kind of my personal guarantee because I take my. This is not a job. It's
right.
not just a job. It's a passion.
Yeah. Right.
I don't want anyone I've trained to ever get in a situation where his life is taken unexpectedly or anyone else is killed or where he's involved somehow.
Right.
So this young man is a good friend of mine now, and my personal guarantee is he has access to me the rest of his career.
Nice.
And that's what I tell him because he's going to need some more guidance, but he's on a good path.
Yeah.
And it's the whole warrior mindset because these weapon systems that we have, they're tools, just like anything else. And if you don't use them properly, if you don't know how to use them, they're not going to do any good when you need them. And it's a perishable skill.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And that's another thing. And officers don't really understand this.
If Stan was here, he could tell us all about how perishable it is.
Awesome. I'm sorry he's not here, but
He's old.
no, is he? So anyway, that's a good example of putting somebody on that path, and he believes it. He's made it his own, and he's doing those things that I recommend, and he's on his own. So
nice.
So he always has access. So I will be training him later.
Have you had a new trainee come in that just had completely the wrong mindset, that you worked with him and when you were done with him you were just like, I don't know if this
like resistant to the
yeah.
I'm going to say a little bit yes, a little bit no.
Okay.
I've trained a lot of people. I would say that I actually changed a lot of their standpoints and opened their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And they really told me, wow, I didn't realize things were like this. And yeah, you know what, I should probably do this, this, and this. And I really opened their eyes to things. And they're doing good now, but did they try to attain the same level? No, they kind of fell off. But if I'm even 50% successful, I've done something really good.
Sure.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And I would say that's a success
yeah.
than a loss. Because I expose these people to all kinds of crazy. We're talking gang shootings. It gets real.
Yeah.
So, and it's taking these points, being down in the war zone with them, for them to go, wow, you're absolutely right about this, sir. And I've heard that time and time again.
Yeah.
You're right about everything you said.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't here feeding you full of crap, dude.
Right.
Do the officers in your city, are you always with another officer, or are you ever by yourself?
There are times when you are by yourself.
No
say
kidding.
If you work a report, because we have report writing cars, and they don't want them to do anything else but that. But sometimes things get a little funky.
Report writing?
Yeah, so you can either help at the front desk, which all of our desks are very busy, and there's so many reports out there. You try to sometimes have a car out there that a guy can alleviate a lot of the report stuff, so the regular basic two-man cars don't have to handle.
I see.
So they can go out there and hit the hot calls and doing this and that.
Huh.
But it's rolling the dice. We do have some single-man units, but for the most part, for working crime, it's always a two-man unit. And it's sketchy with two guys.
Yeah.
Super
Oh, I
sketchy.
bet.
Yeah.
Super sketchy. And we're always rolling code 3, lights and sirens. Code 3 means lights and sirens. I don't know what it means out here. Probably
I don't
something similar. But code 3, we're constantly going code 3, emergency after emergency. Like I said, gang shootings, we handle it all. Our officers see in 1 year, they get more experience than most of officers do throughout the country. But anyway, I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, you did.
There's probably more to it, but
How long have you been a trainer? 25 years as an officer.
I've been a trainer for probably 21 years.
Whoa.
Wow.
For most of your
For most of
career.
For most of my career.
Is that something you chose or something that you were selected for?
That's something I chose.
Okay.
I never had any notions when I was young that I'm going to become a police officer to be a captain or to be a detective or to be a sergeant or to do this or do that.
Because it seems like most guys that have that number of years that you do, they're wearing a tie and sitting behind a desk.
But guess what happens? Once you give up that police officer badge, you stop being a cop.
Yeah.
You lose sight.
Wait, those guys have to give up their badge?
No, it's in the proverbial sense.
Oh, okay.
So once you no longer are
A pencil pusher there.
correct. You start losing some perspective.
Not to
It takes a
devalue
special
it.
person
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
keep that and say, you know what, I'm going to beat this to the bone. I'll always back those guys, and I'll always keep that perspective. It takes a special, and I'm friends with a couple guys who are detectives and sergeants who have never lost that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But once you give up that police officer, bat says police officer, because you're not doing the same job that I'm doing every day once
Right.
you're at that. And for me, I'd be a great sergeant because I'd be helping out all my guys. But, I wouldn't be in the mix like that anymore.
Yeah.
And to me, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I have to be in the mix. I have to feel like I'm worthwhile. I have to feel like I'm doing something.
Yeah.
And I won't feel like that unless I'm, putting my life on the line every day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you, by the way. And didn't say thank you for your service.
Thank you very much. I
Pretty
really
awesome.
appreciate that. It means a lot to me.
Question.
Dang it, I have one. I have like 20, but
Yeah, me too. Take us through a couple scenarios with either with. I'm just curious. You get a new trainee. How long are they with you before you are in situations where you've got guns drawn and it's getting hot?
First day.
I was wondering.
first day.
First day, guys.
So
What the crap, are you
run us
serious?
through a couple of those if you've got some stories that you can share.
Yeah. So
First day.
It
Oh, yeah,
doesn't
first
necessarily
day.
have to be with a trainee, but
first day, yeah. So a first day, you're rolling the dice. You never know what's going to happen. So first day, I take, if possible, in that day before we go out, I'll have a very, very long conversation with them. I'll show them all my gear. I have to show them everything I have. We go over where my backup gun is, where their backup gun is. We go through all this stuff. Use of force policy, because that's the bread and butter. He needs to know. I need to know that he knows when he can use deadly force
right. And when he should.
and when he should.
Because I know there's situations where
Yes.
deadly force should have been in play
Right.
when it wasn't.
Correct. So there's a few situations where it's black and white, but it's never black and white. It's always gray.
Yeah.
And you have a millisecond, not even that, to figure it out.
Yeah.
So yes, there's been day one many situations. I'll take you through. One. So my new trainee, we're out and about. We get a code 3 run to a location where a guy robbed another guy for his bike.
Oh, that's just not right.
It's not right.
Yeah, coming from a bike guy.
And he was supposedly armed. So we get there, and sure enough, the suspect was still there. And there was a lot of convoluted. It never.
It's the story's always a little different than the way you get it over
is.
the radio, I'm sure.
It is. You look at it, you can kind of assess it. I don't know. I'm sure there's got to be more than this.
Yeah.
So we get there. Sure enough, there was a witness there. We have we have digital video, and all kinds of weird stuff. So we finally get the guy. He comes out, and the guy kind of he's a little bit uncooperative. And my partner's his eyes are bulging out of his head, and he's ready to draw down. I'm like, relax, buddy, relax. So I'm giving the guy. So I'm with a new guy. I'm like with a brand new
Yeah.
newborn baby.
Yeah.
He doesn't know. So I'm like, okay, don't worry, man, relax. You're not going to draw down on him. So I'm giving this guy commands. And so, I de-escalate the situation. I call him up. I grab the guy first, and then he, starts to handcuff him, and you got to walk him through all these. But that could have gone really bad.
Yeah.
So I have a bunch of stories like that. That's just one of them in particular.
So in scenarios where maybe their first week you got into some really hot stuff, guns drawn or
Yes, I got it.
or fighting and this and that, I'm curious, what impact does that have on the trainer or the trainee?
Huge impact.
And how are they different after that situation than they were before going into it?
Well, I'll tell you, the same kid, and you just jolted my memory. The scenario I should have given you wasn't the one I gave you.
Okay.
The same kid, this was day one. How could I forget this? There's so much in my brain. Thank you for Joel. You unpack something in those little compartments. I have like 100,000 little compartments.
I bet
I pack
you do.
stuff away. So it just came open.
Okay.
So same kid, code 3 run, robbery just occurred, Grand Theft Auto. This guy's amped up on meth. He's got a gun. He confronted somebody at gunpoint, stole their SUV. Well, we end up getting there. Officers beat us to the chase first.
Mm-hmm.
And this he's amped up. I'm telling, okay, this is what you're going to do. I'm going to deploy my rifle. And my other buddy who's working that day, he's got his rifle out too. And this guy gets out of his car, and he's he's got a knife in his pocket, and he keeps motioning back, and he's like, I'm going to reach for this gun right now, and we're going to see what happens. And he's taking us through the whole, I mean, talking about elevated blood pressure up and down. This guy's, he stops. At one point, he jumps into his car, a short pursuit. We get in a short pursuit with him. Then he stops, a half a block, up the street. This he's amped up on meth. This is a little skinny Hispanic guy, amped up on meth, completely. He only speaks Spanish, so he's saying a bunch of nonsense. I don't speak Spanish, but we had translators there, and they're giving him commands. Well, make a long story short, we put my trainee on as part of the team to go up and contact this guy. Make a long story short, they're going up on this guy. This guy didn't. Before we go in pursuit of this guy, he gets shot with the 40 millimeter twice.
Wow.
Explain the 40
so
millimeter.
The 40 mil is one of our less than lethal launchers. It's in essence a 40 millimeter grenade launcher. You could put a frag grenade in that thing. I keep asking them for frags, but they don't listen to me. So anyway.
So it shoots a big plastic pellet.
So it looks like a 40 millimeter grenade, except instead of a grenade, it's like a blue. It's like a racquetball.
Oh, okay.
That's what it's like.
Okay.
Okay, but it's probably a little harder. That's what the projectile is. Okay?
Maybe a little more solid.
It's seated into like a little plastic backing, and that fires out, and it's probably moving at about 300 feet per second, somewhere around there, and they're accurate to about amazingly 75 feet. I mean, they're pretty good. We have a dot optic on there. They're pretty cool.
Yeah,
and they're all green.
like
all of our less than lethal devices. So he ends up meeting the criteria for that. He actually should have been shot with that beforehand, but when they hit him.
So at this point, he's been shot twice.
He's been shot. He's got a busted hand.
Okay.
Hits him here, and he's got a busted rib.
Sheesh.
No problem. This guy shook it off. No problem. He gets in the car, short pursuit, gets out, and he's still acting the fool. So the team goes up. My probationary officer, my trainee is on the stick, and they're going up there. And the first probationer hits him with a taser. The other trainee hits him with a taser. Our new tasers, those things are awesome. Hit him, boom, and it kind of lights him up a little bit, and he starts to be thrown out of balance a little bit, just enough for my trainee to run up and grab him, as well as another officer, and he literally picks both the suspect up and the officer that's got a hold of him, and body slams both of them into the gutter. The gutter's just nasty. The gutters over there are horrible. God knows what's in that gutter. It's a black, just slush. So they're rolling around this guy, and he tries to choke out one of the officers there. And they finally get him into submission. He ends up having a busted eye socket, broken rib, broken hand, and he's still fighting officer.
Wow.
This guy's amped up on something, right?
Sure.
So they finally get him into custody. He's tased another 2-3 times. But this is day one for my trainee. He gets involved in this huge hellacious use of force. It could have resulted in an officer-involved shooting. He was supposed to have a gun, but amazingly enough, he didn't have a gun. He either got rid of it somewhere before we made contact with him.
That
Anything
nasty
could happen.
gutter.
The nasty gutter, yeah, it's in a gutter somewhere.
It's lost forever.
Anyway, I can't believe he didn't have a gun. So, okay.
Wasn't in the car, wasn't...
It's not in the car.
Well...
So anyway, that was day one for my trainee.
Wow.
And that was a huge thing. It was a big old use of force. Things could have gone really, really
And
bad.
what did the conversation
That's
go
like three questions in a row.
with you and him after that?
I will tell you. I'll tell you as soon as I tell you about what happened to this guy. So this guy sustains all these injuries. His toxicology came back with nothing. He broke 2 sets of cuffs, gentlemen.
What?
And this is a skinny guy,
This is a skinny Hispanic dude. Yeah. So whenever you think, or when officers think that, oh yeah, he's good to go, he's in handcuffs, negative. Just because someone's in handcuffs does not mean they're safe. He broke 2 sets of cuffs.
What?
Steel.
How? Like the chain?
I have photos of it. It's the chain, the bracket.
Holy
This is the
cow.
3rd time in my career I've seen this. Sometimes these people are monsters.
Wow.
Yeah.
There are monsters out there.
Yeah.
Guys. Incredible.
Huh.
I'm thinking the guy probably.
And he's breaking it with a busted hand already.
Yes. So he tried to escape twice. I mean, this guy is incredible.
And he had nothing in his system.
Nothing in his system.
Oh, the guy that was arrested had nothing?
Nothing.
What?
I'm thinking he probably did some PCP back in the day, because that stuff stores in their fatty tissue. So sometimes you see these monsters do exist. I'll just tell you that.
Wow.
They do. So going back to follow up on your question, before and after, oh yeah. This kid already had the aptitude because of, he already had it. So I didn't have to really go into that much with him. But after that, he just ate up the expertise, and it just took him. It took him from that first day of, okay, I don't know what to expect, to, you know what, I'm starting to get it now, and you start seeing that transformation, and that's what I like to see.
My question, if I can
Wait, I had
interject real
another
quick,
one.
no, sorry, man. That transformation you're talking about, how long does that take?
It all depends on the person.
Okay, I was going to ask, is it the same, or is it
It's all different.
a situation like that? Is he's ready? He's
Completely different.
Really?
and,
Okay.
and it's methodical. So it could take. It's a process.
yeah.
And after 2 months with me, usually I see a fully transformed individual.
How long do you have a probation?
2 months.
You have one person for 2 months,
2 months.
and then he goes off
Somebody
to
else,
an assignment.
because they want him to.
To another trainer.
Right.
For how long do they train?
He'll usually have three different main
6 months or so?
trainers.
So 6 months they're
It's
in
12 months.
probationary.
No, it's 12 months.
12.
So part of that is with us, and then they go to another level, of another phase of that level, and then they're allowed to work with non-FTOs, if you will. They kind of
Okay.
let them go out on their own a little bit. They're trained
FTO is
field training officer.
Oh, okay.
So
Keep up, Ricky.
Yeah, I'm sure you already said it like 5
that's
times.
okay, not a problem. So at that point, they're pretty much bought and paid for, but their probationary status training is not done yet until that 12th month.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
So, but they're no longer evaluated per se by us.
Right.
We intensely evaluate them, through those 6 months. If they don't cut the grade, then they're extended,
Oh, really?
or whatever the case may be.
Okay.
We kind of try to, pay attention to those special needs.
Have you ever had someone say, or have you ever had to say to someone, or you're just not cut out for this?
You know what? I haven't particularly.
Okay.
I've been pretty fortunate. I haven't had to deal with a situation like that. All the people that I've trained, they've been pretty decent to pretty solid individuals.
How many times? So you said first day you're often drawing a gun with a new trainee.
Yes.
How often in this major city that you are in are you as officers drawing your gun?
2, 3, 4 times, 5 times a day.
A day.
A day.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what that compares to the sleepy cities that we live in here in Utah? There's no way it's that close.
No.
I can't imagine.
Well,
once
I grew
a
up
week?
in
I don't
Silicon
know.
Valley, and my oldest sister dated a cop for a while.
Okay.
And I know, and this is in the 80s also. Times were different.
Yeah.
But even then, I can't remember him ever telling me about him having to draw his gun. It was like a rare thing.
Yeah. I'm sure it happens in
Yeah.
the city I live in. I guess I don't need to hide my own Pleasant Grove or whatever.
What? Everyone go to Pleasant Grove.
My name
Mickey.
is. My name is. I don't see it happening that often. So that is mind blowing.
Oh, yeah.
That often.
Yeah.
And we're
It's
going
happening more and more everywhere.
No, and not to discount who they are and what
And
they
that's
do,
not-
but still.
That's
wow.
not counting driving through sketchy neighborhoods and just weird things where you'll have it out driving. Like this.
Do you really?
Oh yeah. Or some sketchy person will come out of nowhere, or some carload of gangster or whatever. It's right here, just like this, and you're talking to them like this.
Holy cow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
They don't even know.
You're ready to shoot
Oh,
through the door.
Just like this. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I want a few more stories because
Sure.
I know our listeners are going to want that.
You got
So
it.
give us a story. Doesn't need to be with a trainee or anything.
It's almost Halloween. Do you have like just a.
something, just an intense situation that you've been in.
Well, an intense situation. So I'll tell you about one. So man with a gun call. Okay, at a park.
Is that a code 2 or?
That's going to be a code 3.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Code 3.
You were close.
That's emergency. Code 3 is emergency.
I know. I'm just kidding.
So he's armed with a handgun. He's armed with a revolver.
Well, at a park.
At a park, and he's either nuts.
Can I ask what time of the day is this?
This is probably yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. Well, at least you're hoping. This is probably maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, wow.
If my memory serves me right.
Jeez.
Wow.
So he's looking around and he's waving this thing around, and
Really?
yeah, we not surrounded him, but we got him in a triangulation to where we have the advantage on him. So we triangulated on him, and my partner and I were both armed with shotguns, and we're looking at this guy, and I'm probably I'm probably a good 30 yards away from him, and I'm armed with a 12 gauge. My partner's armed with a 12 gauge, and this guy's looking around. Well, this guy ends up doing this, and I'm coming up with my shotgun, and I was going to press one off, but at that same moment, because there were some trees in my way.
So he's lifting his gun.
Yeah, well, he was actually doing this to put it down this way.
Okay.
But as soon as he does this,
Oh, yeah, he's pointing it at everybody.
so next thing you know, you hear bam, bam. Somebody shot at him. Well, they missed. And they hit the tree, chest level, and he sees the tree explode. He looks at it and goes, oh, my God. He starts to throw the gun away. And he's getting hit with less lethal.
Okay.
So that was a very, very close call.
Yeah.
Very, very close call.
Wow.
So that was a good one.
What were they? Was it a shotgun that they missed him with, or was it a?
It was a Beretta 92 FS, 9mm.
Oh well, it's a Beretta.
Naturally.
Why did he have? Was he high on something? Why would he?
He was mentally ill, I believe.
Okay.
And he was probably either drunk or methed out. I don't remember exactly.
Okay.
But
Wow.
Yeah.
he was.
Sounds like he sobered up really quick.
He did. He did. Yeah, he got hit with a couple of beanbag shotguns, and that
Changed his mind.
Changed his mind a little
Sorry,
bit.
guys.
Yeah. Wow. Give us something, just a bizarre scenario. And I'm totally calling you out on the spot.
A bizarre scenario.
Something, like we read these news stories sometimes that are just crazy, weird.
Okay, I'll give you a simple weird one.
Okay.
Simple weird one.
Okay.
So I'm a trainee.
Okay.
Okay, so
this is 25 years ago?
this was I'd say 25.
Okay.
That sounds about right. Maybe a little longer. Maybe
Okay.
somewhere in the ballpark.
Okay.
I was brand new.
Okay.
So we get all kinds of calls, okay? And any of these things can be bizarre. Actually, I just thought of another one. So that'll come in succession.
You can give us a double.
So any of these things can be bizarre. From
Sure.
dead body calls. There's so many facets. I've seen them all weird. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy stuff. So
Yeah.
we get a call. A particular individual's daughter hadn't seen her father for 2 weeks, and she thought that was very bizarre. He doesn't answer the door. He doesn't answer phone calls. So that could mean one of two things.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Okay? Her dad's got some medical issues, and he's a bit elderly. So, okay, this is not good. So we get there, and I'm knocking on the front door. And every time I knock on the front door, I've been doing this before I came on the job. I listen and I kind of smell what's coming. And sure enough, I smell something that resembled in my mind as something's dead in there. There's a very, very distinct smell of, say, a dead dog, a dead squirrel,
Yeah.
and then a human being.
Sure.
Okay?
Oh, they're different.
They're different.
Oh, okay.
I've smelled the first two before.
Yeah. You'll know if it's
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I caught that little hint, and it was, of course, very, very hot summer, extremely hot. So I'm like, yeah, it's not good. So my sergeant's there and my FTO's there. I'm like, oh, I got this, guys. So we go around back, and there's a slider. So I hop the fence, go in there, and the slider's unlocked. I'm like, hey, sir, it's unlocked. I'm going to go in there. Now, I shouldn't have gone in there by myself, but I did.
Probably shouldn't have let you go in by yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Your trainer.
So it's dark. I slide the thing open, and I'm got my pistol out, and back then we didn't have pistol-mounted lights.
Right.
So I had to utilize. I have my big stream light,
Yeah.
which not a whole lot of departments are authorized to use anymore because
Weapon in
it's
and
a
of
weapon,
itself.
right?
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. Why wouldn't you want cops having weapons? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I'm going in there. I'm utilizing something called the Harry's flashlight
Right.
technique. So I'm going in there, and it's pretty eerie, and I definitely smell something's dead in here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going through there. It's really eerie. It's just an eerie the way everything's set up. And next thing you know, I come across the bed, and there's this old man, naked, dead, and he appeared to have several gunshot wounds to his body. Well, appeared until I got closer, and his tongue was hanging out of his mouth, and it was pretty vivid. And I yelled out to my training officer and my sergeant, hey, I made contact. Looks like we've got a dead body in here. Looks like he's got gunshot wounds. Well, I took a closer look, and they weren't gunshot wounds. These patches that I saw, he had defecated himself to death, and they were feces stuck to his body.
Oh my God.
What a way to go, guys.
Yeah.
He suffered. His
Yeah.
tongue was hanging out. It was gnarly. So I moved past him, and I cleared the rest of the area. Yeah, that was pretty bad. It was gnarly. It was bizarre, gnarly.
That is
What a way to go.
Rick.
You wouldn't want to go like that. I'm sure he suffered. It was bad.
Wow.
Poor guy. I feel bad.
Yeah.
So I had to give his daughter the death notification. Those aren't fun at all.
Yeah.
No, I can imagine. You said you had another one. Another funky one.
I wouldn't say this is too bizarre.
Okay.
At least maybe you'll think it's bizarre, but people turn up dead for no apparent reason. There's a lot of transients, and this guy probably was a transient. We found so many. Yeah, I found so many dead bodies. It's not funny. Middle of summer, and it was hot. It was probably 105 degrees. And this dude just is out in the middle of the sidewalk there, just collapsed. And you could tell it was probably a drug overdose, probably maybe fentanyl or something like that. It wasn't really a big deal, but we had to I asked for a canopy because he's out in the open. You don't want the public to see that.
Yeah.
And as for the canopy was kind of down, so we kind of draped the canopy the best we could around it. Instead of setting the whole thing up, we kind of just draped it over between two little gate areas to keep him concealed. And he's oozing this weird stuff, and there's all kinds of little niches as to where you can tell how somebody was died. Maybe it was a stroke, because when you have a stroke, you emit this type of pasty, lightish brown substance. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But and if you take some type of, if it's a drug overdose, you also emit this type of fluid and pasty stuff as well. So maybe it's one of the same.
Yeah.
He overloaded his heart. Either way. So it was kind of funky, kind of strange. But coroner came out and he deemed it as that. Probably a drug overdose or something like that.
In your 25 years, have you seen the drug problem get substantially worse, or in this major city has it always been?
Substantially worse.
Has it? Okay.
Because they legalized
Yeah.
legalized drugs as if that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
made things 100% worse.
Yeah.
200% worse.
Wow. What's the, when you get certain calls over the radio, are there certain calls that worry you more than others? Obviously, if you get a call, someone with a gun or whatever, those are obviously gonna put you on a little higher alert. But is there anything specific that you're like, great, here we go again? Or,
Yeah, that would be two things. The domestic violence is a huge one.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
are very, and so those are a dime a dozen. We get tons of those constantly.
Yeah.
You never know. Those are extremely volatile.
Yeah.
Extremely volatile.
And it can be coming from either side.
Yes.
It's,
Yes. They're horrific.
The person who called can be just
Yes.
as dangerous as the person who
Correct.
was called on.
Yep. So I would say domestic violence, another one of those things is the idea of being ambushed. So any and every call, I teach my trainees that every call you have to assume is an ambush.
Yeah.
Because you got to keep your mind right and your head in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, that'll keep you from getting killed. Because if you expect trouble, it's not going to be a big deal when it happens.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I expect to be shot at all the time. I expect people to get crazy. I expect all this stuff. So if it's not a surprise, it's easier to deal with, right?
Yeah.
So I expect every call to be an ambush. So that's another. When you go into, depending on what you're going to, depending on what it is, it can be anything. The hair just starts going up in the back of your neck. You got to listen to that. That's premonition.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You have to
feel it.
listen to
Yeah.
your body.
Something ain't right here.
Do you get, in your 25 years of experience, do you get nervous, scared? I don't know if I want to say scared,
Well,
but do you still get nervous?
I want to say this. So I don't get scared. I'm concerned.
Okay.
And when I kind of feel, depending on the situation, the back of my hair does raise.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you become more concerned more times than others.
Okay.
Okay. When something just doesn't feel right, you'll be walking up to, say, a domestic violence call. It's like, I don't like the way this sounds. We might want to wait for an additional unit, and you just stand by. Or, you start hearing screaming. Or, you're walking up a corridor and it just starts getting eerie. You don't like what you're not hearing.
Sure.
Maybe you'll see a door open, or maybe you'll see a body laying there. I've rolled up and seen people murdered from domestic violence, and their head is in pieces. It's like, okay, is this guy? Where is this guy?
Yeah.
It just all depends. It's very I don't want to say alarming, because it's kind of an acquired taste. I've done it for so long. It's not a surprise, but it is disconcerting. you already know something's gonna go bad. So you want to stay as calm as you possibly can.
Yeah.
The calmer you can stay, the more you can slow down time in a sense. Because we have all the time in the world. You don't have to rush in and do all these crazy things.
Right.
That's how you get killed. We have times on our side.
Sure.
I can assess, sit there, and be like, okay, give me, I'll get resources, I'll get a helicopter, I'll get additional units coming, I'll start setting up a perimeter. So there's things you can do to kind of slow that down and kind of make things a little, kind of raise morale for everybody.
Yeah.
But it gets a little hairy sometimes.
Yeah.
So the calmer you can be, the better you can, respond to the trouble. If someone's shooting at you, or something's coming at you with a knife, or somebody's trying to attack you, you can better actually resolve that issue if you're calm.
For sure. Any close calls?
A lot of close calls.
Any in particular that you
Monday
want to
through
share?
Friday, man. I guess you're probably more Monday through Friday.
Well, yeah, we had a close call the other day. Same trainee, we rolled up on it was a assault with a deadly weapon in progress. It was a family. I guess it was I don't remember. It was an uncle or something like that who took a shotgun and butt stroked the father-in-law or something like that a bunch of times, and he's injured down in the near somewhere in the location.
Okay.
There's a lot of unknowns. You got a guy armed with a shotgun. That's
Right.
not good.
Right.
So we set up on it. I responded with another unit, and he's solid. He's an ex-Army guy. I trust him. He trusts me. He's got some pretty good weapons, and we deployed on that thing. Had him at training with me, and he was ready to go. And we roll up, and we're trying to get everybody out of the house. We're trying to get people to tell us what's going on. Where's the suspect? Oh, he went that way. He's in the back. Okay. Where's the victim at? And you see the guy stumble out, and he's bleeding from his head. You can tell he'd been hit with something. He's like, yeah, the suspect's back there. And right as we're trying to have him come out, you hear distinctly the racking of a shotgun.
Jeez.
And I'm thinking, okay, so I've got my rifle out, and I'm thinking, okay, this guy's gonna, either he's coming out to finish this guy off, or he's gonna come out and shoot it out with us. I'm thinking, oh, here we go. And my partner's like, okay, sir, here we go. So I'm getting ready, and I'm waiting for the guy to step out, and sure enough, nothing. Where is this guy? I'm like, sir, do you see this guy? Where is he? I don't see him. And he's sitting down, he's kind of down and out. So in that moment, that guy was literally probably a few feet from him. I couldn't see because it was down and narrow. It was on the side of the house. Mm-hmm. He was there, but what really happened is the guy came out. He did whatever he did. It sounded to me like he was racking the shotgun, and he split eastbound from the location. He took off. We didn't know that. Ended up being a SWAT call out and everything else. We extracted him out of there, got everybody out. SWAT went in. They didn't find him, and he actually had left.
Nice.
That was a close call.
Yeah, for sure.
Do the police TV shows and movies have those caused problems for you, or do they bug you? I mean, what are your thoughts on?
They don't really bug me. I think they're kind of entertaining. I don't watch a whole lot of TV. I don't really have time, but
You critique their tactics.
all the Hollywood stuff. It's all Hollywood.
Do you, as a trainer, I do this, and I'm not even close to your level, but when you see an officer pull, or an FBI agent pull out a gun, and his stance and his technique is like, dude, what the crap are you doing, man?
All the time.
Every day I watch. I mean, we don't watch that much TV either, but
pull
when
out
we do,
a
it's
1911 and the web of their hands about an inch below the beaver tail.
Right.
It's like, what? You're not gonna hit anything holding the gun like that.
I love this one where they have the gun really up
Isn't that
close,
funny?
and it's like, what the crap?
I do all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time. It drives me nuts. But it's Hollywood.
Yeah,
It makes it more entertaining.
I guess
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's very entertaining. None of them bother me. It's just, there was some entertainment factor to that stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I look at a lot of those and I'm just like, of all the people out there that you could have hired as a consultant
Right.
on that specific thing,
Put some money
and you
to the blue and
you
get them to
didn't
come in.
do it,
Right.
It's like,
Right.
come
You would
on.
think.
But the makeup looks great. I mean, there's plenty of people working on that makeup.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like when you have these little skinny women with this giant floppy holster on their hip and they're
Right.
running around and the guns flinging all over. I'm like,
I see that.
my God.
I see that for real.
Oh,
Do you really?
gosh.
Wow.
You just see
So that
Yes.
isn't a lie.
It's not a lie.
Oh, wow.
No.
Are you guys?
I got another one too.
Okay.
Yeah, please go with your story. The first one.
Hold your thought.
Yeah, no, please.
Definitely ask that.
Please.
So recently, my partner and I, we responded to two suspects armed with guns, shots fired, two suspects down.
Whoa.
I'm like, okay. So when we go to turn before we even got close to the call, I had my partner stop, and I took my rifle out. So my rifle's in my lap. I'm not
Okay.
taking a chance on this. Anything.
Yeah,
I want the long eye on this guy.
Mhm.
If one of them's still up, if I see him in the street, I'm gonna shoot him.
Yeah.
So we're going to this thing.
If you're going to a gunfight,
Thank
you
you.
want your rifle.
So my rifle's in my lap, and I do that a lot
Mm-hmm.
because I want to be ready. So
So it's sitting muzzle down
Right.
between your legs.
just like this.
Okay.
We're going, and I'm getting updated information. And right as we're getting there, we hit the street, and I see a guy with an 80%er, and he's probably 45 yards away.
I think it's funny that you're identifying the model of gun that they're carrying.
And I'm coming up, my safety's coming off. I was gonna put one right through the windshield, right through the
Okay.
windshield with my M4.
Uh-huh.
And as that is happening, he's taking the magazine out and locking it to the rear and putting it down, and he's doing this. That was a close one. man.
Wow.
So here's what the situation was. His son, these are both, there's no humans involved here. They're both dirtbag versus dirtbag.
Okay.
His son was lit on mushrooms and methamphetamine. He ends up arming himself with 2 kitchen knives. Whoosh. Grandma is back with the father's little baby. I don't know how the older son didn't go back there with these knives and murder grandma and his little half brother.
Mhm.
I don't know how he didn't do it. Grandma had locked the door and she was in there. I don't know
Yeah.
how that didn't
Yeah.
happen. And he comes out with these knives, and I later determine all this because I see video and everything else. And he actually sees his son with these 2 knives. He's like, oh my God. So he starts to try to tell his son, hey man, I'm going to get you a smoke. Why don't you go meet me in the backyard? And the kid actually bought off on it. And he went and armed himself with a gun he had in his car,
Okay.
which was an 80% or
80%.
9mm.
Okay.
So the kid's like, well, wait a minute, this isn't the son, right? So he ends up coming out the back, and he attacks his dad. And he goes after his dad and tries to stab him numerous times. He ends up stabbing him right through here, right through the chest. He got him pretty good. And finally, the dad kind of pretty much got tired of fending him off, so he shoots him once in the leg. Boom! Right leg.
Okay.
So the kid starts limping past him and trying to stab him some more. He's limping towards him, trying to stab him. So he shoots him twice in the other leg, and he goes down. It literally blasted his fibia and tibia in half, and it was just flopping.
Oh gosh.
Okay? So he's on the ground crawling, trying to get to him. So we get there,
Sheesh.
and this guy's...
Like a zombie movie.
It's like a zombie movie.
Yeah.
I almost shot, his dad,
Yeah.
and we move up on this, and then I see his son down in the grass, and he's looking at me, and he's pointing his knives at me, and he's trying to crawl, and this guy's yelling, "Don't shoot my son! Don't shoot my son!" I said, "Okay, I'm not." And you can see he was complying, but he was, being an idiot, and you can see his shirt was drenched with blood. So you kind of figure like, okay, I know what happened here. The son stabbed him, and he shot him.
Yeah.
And there's the gun right over there.
Mm-hmm.
So he's yelling and yelling at me, "Don't shoot my son." I said, "I heard you the first time. I'm not going to shoot your son. Stop."
Mm-hmm.
So now we're dealing with this idiot. Hey, drop the knives, drop the knives, drop the knives. Anyway, we finally get everyone into custody. But the moral of this story is that if I had been a minute sooner, I would have rolled up there and seen his dad and seen him trying to stab his dad. I would have shot him, and then Dad would have turned on me with that gun, and I would have shot him.
Yeah.
That's how that would have ended up, because they both hated the police.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I
I couldn't get anything out of his dad. I started questioning his dad about the gun, where he got this gun. He refused to talk to me at all at that point.
So what do you do in a situation like that? Is an 80% lower handgun legal where you are?
Well, you know what? It is. They're trying to pass legislation.
I think they're all outlawed right now.
They're trying to pass some legislation on whether or not it needs
It needs a serial
needs a
number.
serial number or whatever the time limit is.
Mhm.
And at that point, you let detective. Of course, we took the gun. We're not going to give it back to him.
Right.
And we're not going to book him for anything because he was
Just
defending himself.
Yeah.
And we'll let them, if they want to go after him for that. At that point, that 80%er,
So when your department takes a gun from somebody in a situation like that, they don't get it back.
oh heck no.
Okay.
He's not gonna get that back. So his son got booked for attempt murder.
Yeah.
He's not getting the gun back because it was an 80% or because
Well, let's just say this.
did he have
I don't-
other felonies on him? Like, why would
he didn't? He because I was
Sounds like
trying
it
to
was in
look.
self-defense, right?
Right. I was trying to look to see if there was an ex-con with a gun because I would have attempted to probably book him for ex-con with a gun because
Sure.
there's no victims here
Yeah.
Yeah.
in a sense.
Sure.
So dad is just as bad as the
Yeah.
son. Now I determined that his dad was probably a drug dealer because he had just gotten back from going to some rehab. So I based on my experience, I think dad deals dope. That's why he has that gun.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
so I ran his rap sheet, he wasn't an ex-con.
Really?
So it just would have been a misdemeanor for having that gun.
Hmm.
And generally, we don't book victims for, anything unless it's pretty serious.
Yeah.
And this was just self-defense.
Yeah.
Right.
But his dad hated the police.
Bad for business.
Bad for business.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, I think we're probably about out of time, but anything else?
This has been awesome. We need to have you back.
I'd love to come back,
for
guys.
sure.
Fascinating.
This has been a joy. Thank you so much for having me.
I want to say it's eye-opening, but it hasn't been shocking either.
Right.
But the job that you guys are doing it's a tough job, and man, God bless you for doing it.
Sir.
I think we're fortunate enough to be in, the Second Amendment industry and whatever you want to call it, is pretty much back the blue. But I think, the message from this podcast is back the blue and don't let down on that at all. They need us now more than ever.
Like as we talked about earlier with the Black Lives Matter thing a while back, there's a huge push in just people that I would consider just your everyday, ordinary citizen is all of a sudden talking about defunding the police and how the cops are bad and this and that. And I'm thinking, it's just like any other industry, right? There are good ones and there are bad ones.
Sure.
There are bad cops out there. I don't think you would deny that, but I think that the percentage of the bad cops versus the good cops is not what is being portrayed.
You know what? There was a perception, and if I can just take a minute
Absolutely.
to
Yeah.
kind of address what you said. So in my over 25 years of service, I've never seen any bad cops.
Okay.
There are a lot of training that goes into us. We're humans just like anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Any cop that has made any type of mistake, there's two things. It's either going to be a mistake of the heart or the mind. So for the most part, it's always been a mistake of the heart. So when we're having to deal with all these things in a split second, it takes a lot of training to be able to deal with these things. So it's not because the cop did anything that out of malice.
Yeah.
It was because it was a training issue.
Okay.
It's hard to get everything right according to policy. It's hard to do that in real life scenarios. The dynamics that we have to deal with do not fit in with policies and the way things are normally running when the situation is changing second after second after second. So the perception may be that, this is a dirty cop. He used excessive force. Negative.
Yeah.
It's not because of that. The perception will be that, he used excessive force, but really it's a training issue.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So I would just like to address that.
No,
if that helps.
You have a unique perspective, and I appreciate that because I have never had it explained to me in that way, and that makes perfect sense.
Right.
I agree.
I think.
I think back to some of the most recent incidents that have been way widespread in terms of the media coverage of shootings or the George Floyd, for example. I would imagine that was. I don't think he was a bad guy. I think it was excessive force. It sounds like.
If he actually was a bad guy.
Derek Chauvin?
No, I'm talking George Floyd.
Yeah, no, I'm talking the officer.
Not that he deserved what happened to him.
Yeah, no, I was talking Derek Chauvin. I can't imagine him being a bad cop like was mentioned. It sounds like it was just excessive force, and it was.
Well, there's training issues. I don't think Officer Chavez did anything that he wasn't trained to do. Their department actually trained to do exactly that.
Yeah.
So, and his department threw him under the bus for that. He was a martyr. And they made that decision in court. It was proven that an officer can be, or officers can be convicted of murder to appease a narrative. That's scary, folks.
Yeah, sure.
It is.
That clearly was not murder at all. That that bad guy there, he was a very bad guy, like you said, Jason. He was under the influence of fentanyl. Everything came back. That he got himself killed. It wasn't because I've in training, guys, and I'm a martial artist, so I've had tons of people in training on my neck. My neck is tweaked, but I've never been killed in those circumstances. I've had full body weight on my neck, and I've been thrown around, thrashed in training, and I like to train hard. And I'm here sitting with you. I'm not on the brink of death.
Yeah.
That was clearly a drug overdose.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you see Chavin's heels, he actually was kind of, in a sense, it looked like his weight was on at some point was on there 100%, but he was actually backed off and he didn't have 100% of his weight. How do you control a person who's hot and sweaty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to control his head. You got to control his upper body. And now they're trying to train police departments because of that to do things that are unsafe. They're even doing it to our guys in our police academy. They're training people to take people into custody from the prone position. These are guys who are presumed armed.
Yeah.
While you come up, can you imagine? You come up and you kneel. You don't kneel. You squat and you grab their arm. What's going to happen when the guy turns on you? He's going to throw you off balance.
Yeah, sure.
Why are we jeopardizing officers' lives even more than we should and jeopardizing tactics to appease a narrative? This is where we're headed.
Yeah.
It defies common sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does.
Puts you guys in danger.
Puts us in danger.
Yeah.
And that's not what should be happening. The only way to control evil is to control their upper body, their head. That's how you do it. Ask any martial artist.
Okay.
I've had
I believe you.
I've had my breathing restricted. I've never died of asphyxiation, unless I'm dreaming right now. And okay,
Nice.
I've been choked out.
Yeah.
I've been choked out, and that's a very unpleasant experience.
Yeah.
But I'm not dead because of it.
Yeah.
I'm not. So there's other factors there, and officers they do have the good intentions. And anything that could go wrong, it's a training issue. And things happen.
Yeah.
Things slip, batons slip, and through this whole action of fighting, sometimes people get hit in the head with batons, flashlights. And the dynamics that we deal with don't fit into these policies.
Yeah.
And they set it up to where they can either back you or they can fire you or send you to jail. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It is. It is. And it just adds one more dynamic to the job that makes it that much more stressful, I'm sure.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks so much for coming, and once again, thank you for your service.
I think
Appreciate that.
We would love to have you on again.
Yeah.
I'd love to come back.
I think what we ought to do, we've done this once before when we had another officer on. We collected a handful of stories of self-defense stories and stuff like that, and then let him analyze them and talk about what was good, what was
that'd
bad,
be cool.
what could have been better.
Love to do that.
So anyway, thanks for coming.
Appreciate that.
It's been awesome talking with you.
Likewise.
Tell your friends, subscribe.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Go take somebody shooting.
Do all that normal stuff.
Be nice.
Be nice, yeah.
Taco's not here to talk about NOE bullet molds for 10 minutes.
And what you did with guns. And
He's going to edit this, by the way.
at his own. Here's what I did with guns.
Yeah.